All right, everybody, welcome back. Today, I'm just gonna go on a little bit of a rant about something I see with athletes all the time, and one of the biggest precipitating factors I see with strength athletes and why they're getting hurt when this could have easily been prevented. So, cueing is there's a huge art to it, and as a coach and as an athlete, both, we need to make sure those cues are being understood and also executed properly, and that if they're not, we're either changing them, giving different perspectives on them, or a completely different cue. And the same cue for two different people might give us two different things. And the biggest thing in all of this that I see is I see too many high-level advanced athletes still going after beginner cues, which sometimes can lead to injury because of a lack of understanding of what should be happening. For instance, we could have the same action of if I told you to push up on that wall behind me and act like you're holding the wall there. You can hold the same position, but if I told you to push the wall over, I'm getting a whole new intent with the movement. So when it comes to things like powerlifting, weightlifting, sport performance, things like that, or just general weight training, I'm going to use certain cues with certain individuals that I will never use with others. And I think this is something that sometimes are just common trends that are brought from what some trainers learn in, a 2-day training course that get brought all the way through. And because it's a massive, trend, that's what these high-level athletes are hearing too, and it's not always what they need to hear. So, unless they find a really high-level coach for themselves that can change some of these things around sometimes. So, with that being said, I think this is especially true for the squat. Is I see too many people that sit in your heels, stick your butt back, keep your chest up, and this can run into some orthopedic sensitivities and such because we're running joints into end range when we don't need to. So I will use those cues with a new athlete or a new client or patient, whatever the case may be, where yes, if someone doesn't know how to weight shift appropriately, and every time they go to squat and they don't know how to shift their hips back at all, and they just kind of bend their knees in this awkward kind of thing they do where they just, bend at the knees and their heels come up and they just kind of slowly descend with this vertical body. Yes, then I'm going to tell them to sit their weight back in their heels and just learn to weight shift, because a lot of the times too we need to exaggerate a cue to kind of get the neutral effect of that, essentially. So now once that person has that cue and they know how to sit in their heels as well as on their toes, now I'm going to go for a balanced foot. Same thing with chest up. Is a lot of people think that chest up in a squat means, hyperextend my back and have the bar like this and drive up. Well, chest up can mean a few different things, and I'll use it for certain, even high-level athletes and not for others. Because a lot of times chest up is misinterpreted as being chest up. Instead, we get low back extension, which looks like chest up. But really, I don't want that at all. So a big piece of the puzzle is figuring out, am I doing what I'm thinking about? Does it look like what I want it to look like? Or is that person demonstrating that properly? And a lot of these cues need to change. So as coaches, as clinicians and everything else, I think we need to do a much better job of realizing what cues are working, what aren't, and what this person needs at that point in time. So a lot of times too with athletes coming in and stuff for rehab is I'll ask, what are your intentions with the bar when you're doing this movement? So I'm thinking this, that, whatever. It's like, well, show me what that looks like to you. And it's like, no. Let's go back and change that. Chest up, doesn't mean we need to be here. We need to be here, right? You're losing this. That might be why we have low back pain. And after taking some athletes through rehab and getting them back into training and looking at their training a little harder, some people have realized, like, hey, I took 3 different cues and just ran them and hit them hard until they didn't work anymore. And that's exactly what happens is we see too many people overly exaggerating these things. And when we overly exaggerate, we're ending up with that wrong motor intention of what should happen, and therefore the result is could be increased pain, decreased performance, decreased movement variability, less optimal positions, and things like that. So as coaches, as athletes and things, take a look back at what cues you were using when you were a beginner versus what you're using as an advanced athlete if you've seen good progress, and think about some of those things and what things should change, because a lot of times they need to change. Where, like with the foot, I don't have many athletes sitting in their heels anymore. We use the balanced foot. We need 3 points of pressure and making sure our toe's down instead of our toe coming up, and different things like that just need to change over time. They can make a big difference on what we're getting or why things are happening. And I see it a lot with ankle mobility too, is powerlifters think they have poor ankle mobility, but they have poor ankle mobility not because they have poor ankle mobility. They don't demonstrate good ankle mobility because they've never expressed it, because the intention of that cue to sit in your heels didn't shift the tibia forward at all, didn't express joint end range. And if we never move a joint to end range with load, we're probably not going to get mobility there. But if we had changed the intent to a balanced foot beforehand, this likely could have not happened. So just a small rant for today. If you guys have any questions on this, want to hear me talk more about some of this stuff, feel free to reach out. Barbell.therapy on Instagram, or visit the website barbelltherapyperformance.com. Hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching.